So Chapter 5 Season 3 has been out for about a week, and in this video, I've combined all the tips that I've learned from playing ranked in both builds and zero builds, as well as tournaments within the past week. And not only playing, but watching every single improvement guide on both YouTube and TikTok. And I've combined all the best information in those videos to make the ultimate how to improve in Season 3 guide. And please use my code DISC in the Fortnite item shop. These videos take a ton of effort, and it's very much appreciated if you do. And you're probably thinking to yourself, why should I listen to you in the first place? Well, I have over $30,000 earned in Fortnite tournaments such as builds and zero builds, and I've been a full-time content creator on Fortnite for the past 5 years. And I also joined one of the biggest Fortnite organizations ever made because of my skills. And the first thing I want to go over in today's video is the brand new loadouts, such as the new guns, new mobility items, and new consumable items that we were given in Season 3, as some of these items are insanely broken. First, I'm going to start off with the new mythics. I believe we have 3 new mythics in the game: the Mythic Combat Shotgun, the Mythic Combat AR, as well as the Mythic Megalodon's Nitro Fist. Now, if you guys can grab one of these mythics, I highly recommend doing so, but it's going to be highly contested as they are literally the best weapons in the entire game right now, especially the Nitro Fist being the most broken mobility item Fortnite's ever added. And having a mythic version of that is just insanely overpowered and something you need to have in your arsenal if you can. And with the launch of Season 3, Fortnite has decided to emphasize the use of cars. So now if you're playing with a team, you guys 100% need to be in the cars, as they're super overpowered. We even have 3 brand new mythic cars that literally heal themselves, and you can literally get over 30 kills just by staying in the mythic car the entire game, which is kind of insane to think about. But Fortnite actually added the first major update of the season today, and here are all the major changes that you guys need to know. First things first, that Fortnite actually involved the boogie bombs, but the EMP grenades will soon return to take their place. Now with the boogie bombs, I'm pretty sure you can just throw a boogie bomb at the car and it will actually boogie bomb the people inside the car, making them get out. I'm not too sure how that's going to work. Another major key thing we need to look at here is that the boom bolt damage multiplier to vehicles in specific has increased from X3 to X3.7, which is obviously going to be something that you're going to want to incorporate in your loadout with this new car season, which I'll go over later in the video. The Nitro Gauntlet's recharge rate has increased from 8 seconds to 11 seconds per charge. Vehicles now have 18% less HP when in solos only now, and the fire rate multiplier when you're in a Nitro car has been nerfed. Grenade launcher turrets damage to builds have been reduced from 250 to 150. Boss cars do not automatically regen health anymore. There is reduced machine gun turrets accuracy and reduced Nitro shoulder bash damage to players, because if you guys didn't know, pro players have literally just been popping the new Nitro Splash item, going in the box with the fist, breaking the walls with the Nitro Splash, and absolutely taking out full-on trios and duos with only the fist. So that's something you guys definitely need to be aware about if you guys are serious about improving in this season. And now I'm going to talk about tips and tricks with the cars. I know that's kind of insane to say for Fortnite, but in my opinion, if you want to improve in Season 3 in specific, you're going to have to learn how to use the car correctly and what are the best attachments in specific for the car. So first up, if you don't have a mythic boss car, I recommend getting the G-Wagon, as it does have more HP than the regular cars. And then from there on, you're going to want to have the bulletproof tires, the spiked ram instead of the cow catcher, and the grenade launcher turret, as the grenade launcher turret is going to do more damage to other vehicles as well as building structures, and it's just as effective, if not better, than the machine gun turret. And that's going to be your ideal car loadout as well. And then as going forward, your fragger is definitely going to be the one shooting the gun if you guys are playing duos, and the IGL is going to be the person driving the car, because everyone knows that the IGL, also known as the Endgame leader, is the person who's going to be making all the critical decisions within your gameplay. So that person is going to know when to rotate, where to drive, how to heal up, do all the best, and the fragger's job is literally just to use the turret and get kills. Or even if you guys get players weak, you can hop out of the car and finish them off quickly because you got them weak with the car in the first place. Which brings me to tip number 2, which is one of the biggest keys to improving in any Fortnite season, and that's simply going to be grinding out ranked mode. Now obviously things like creative 1v1s and mechanics maps and warm-up maps are obviously going to help you warm up, but when it comes to in-game fighting and learning how to deal with pressure in the game, you're definitely going to have to play ranked mode if you're serious about improving. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations against players who are probably going to be better than you with lower ping, that are basically going to force you to get better as a player and help you learn how to play in your certain circumstances, such as a lot of people are not on 0 ping. So if they fight someone who's on 0 ping and they get absolutely destroyed by them, they can take it as a lesson, because that's just one step closer for them to learn how to fight against a player who they know is on 0 ping. So they're going to have to approach the fight differently, which is obviously going to help you improve and grow as a player. So with all of that in mind, I highly recommend you guys play ranked mode, especially if you don't do that. Just face people who are better than you in general, and I promise you, you will see your skill level increase like crazy, especially in Season 3 where it's so car dependent. You're going to have to learn how to maneuver in the car, when to get out versus when to not get out, because if you're not in a car, you're pretty much going to die if someone else has the other car. So it's just little things like that you're not going to really learn in creative. You're only going to learn by grinding against people who are better than yourself. Now, if you're trying to decide which mode you need to play in order to get better, it really doesn't matter. Solos, duos, and trios. But however, for Season 3 in specific, I feel like this season has really been catered towards people with a lot of friends, because you can literally have a designated driver as well as a designated shooter, and it's very team oriented. You have to be on the same page. It's a very duo, trio, squad like season in my opinion. I feel like solos are just kind of impossible to play almost, especially with the addition of the cars, because if you get out of your car in solos, you're pretty much cooked. both, bro. If you're in a 1v1 build battle, it's over, bro. Not saying that it's impossible, but if you guys want to improve, I highly recommend playing like a team-oriented game mode, such as duos, trios, or squads. And if you're like me and you don't have a lot of friends, then use my comment section as a place to find more friends. Put your epic as well as your rank and what you're trying to achieve in Fortnite. And I'm sure you guys can find a lot of people to play with as well. But I do highly recommend you guys implementing just a little bit of solos, because while you can be good at team-oriented game modes, you really need to know how to fight under pressure when you're by yourself, because if you die in a solo game mode, that's it. That's your life. And it's going to have to make you reset. And there's no teammate to come help you clutch. So I highly recommend you guys playing at least some solos if you're going to go ahead and play other party modes such as duos, trios, and squads. Which brings me to my next tip, which is the best drop spots in Chapter 5 Season 3, how to loot them correctly, what to look for in a drop spot, and how to rotate out of them like a pro. Firstly, if you're playing a game mode like Ranked, I highly recommend your drop spot being as unconned as possible, because if you die off spawn, that's going to set you back a significant amount of rank, and that's the opposite of what you want to do if you're playing Ranked. Your goal is to rank up and improve as a player. It needs to have at least max of 2 materials around the drop spot itself, such as max wood and max brick, as well as a lot of floor loot and an abundance of chests and ammo boxes. And my personal drop spot that I've been using to already hit champion in just a couple days is this drop spot all the way at the bottom of the map at this dock. Because once you get to the dock, the best place to land is in the back, because there's a slurp chuck there that will give you a free 100 shield off spawn as well as floor loot. And then once you get the slurp chuck as well as pick up the gun off the floor, there is a total of 17 chests in this little drop spot, which will allow you to get a full entire loadout just off spawn, giving you the upper hand if someone tries to push you. And if you are conned and lose any type of health or lose some health to fall damage, there are a total of 10 slurp barrels at this drop spot alone. So if you didn't want to, you literally never have to pop shield if you didn't want to leave this drop spot. And this spot is also really good for duos, because there is a reboot van in the center of the drop spot. And there's also an NPC named Ruckus that spawns there that's going to be selling the new boom bolt, which is going to be crucial to carry in your loadout to counteract the cars, as Fortnite just buffed the boom bolt's damage to cars like crazy. Now everyone's pretty much going to be carrying one. And then once you've looted the entire POI, you can literally just go right beside it to where this little pond is. You can get max wood and brick from the rocks and the trees, making this by far the best secret solo drop spot or duo drop spot in the game right now. And then you can play how you want after you loot the entire POI, because you're going to have max materials and entire loadout, plenty of shield, plenty of HP. So if you guys are a confident player, you can easily push the medallion to go contest them and try to get it yourself, or you can start playing passive, play more towards dead side, and play for placement points if you are in ranked, of course, or if you're in pubs to try to get your win record up. That works well for this drop spot as well. And you're probably asking yourself, Disc, what exactly is dead side of the zone? Well, this is one of the most important things, especially when it comes to competitive Fortnite, and every single pro player knows it and abuses this strategy, because the majority of people just simply don't know what it is. Dead side of the zone is the part of the zone that no one's going to be fighting at, because it's probably already in zone or on the outer side of the map. Because what happens is when the zone starts closing in and the people who landed outside of the zone all start rotating in at the same time, and those players are all going to meet at the exact same point on the edge of storm, making that place super congested and highly contested, which is going to make it extremely difficult to move around without getting shot, because there's just so many players on that side of the map in specific, with the other side of the zone being dead side, which is going to have way less players, allow you to move around more freely and take more risks. And you will also go up in placement points as your enemies fight and eliminate each other on the other side of the zone. But if you don't like the drop spot I recommended, then I would definitely recommend finding a new drop spot that you like, but it fits all the criteria that I mentioned earlier. Which brings me to my next point, which is how to become a better fighter in general. In my opinion, playing in tournaments or a cash cup is a great way to track your progress as a player. For example, if you play a total of 10 different tournaments, in the first tournament you and your duo place 500, and the last tournament you place top 100, then that shows significant progress and that you know that what you're doing to improve is actually working. But the number one thing I see most players struggle with is them camping all the way to endgame and basically being scared to fight, either because they're nervous or they know they're on like controller or have a disadvantage. Which, don't worry, every single player that has touched any video game has all felt that, but I'm going to show you exactly how to overcome being nervous or not confident when going into a fight. Now, especially if you're a controller player like me, it is very uncomfortable to fight people in ranked in general, because a controller player versus a keyboard player is a very difficult task to win fights if you're facing a keyboard player as a controller player, because you're really outclassed in every single aspect except maybe for aiming. But the first thing you guys need to understand is that ranked or a tournament is not a solo mission to hit Unreal or win your first ever tournament by getting first place. Ranked is simply just a system to place you in the rank that you deserve to be, simply so you play against other people your level. So example, if you're in platinum right now and you're struggling to rank up and you start camping your way all the way to endgame just to get those extra placement points or to get an extra free kill from somebody rotating in, you're basically doing nothing to improve as a player other than camping. That means you're missing out on how to rotate, how to deal with pressure in-game fights, and you're basically just doing yourself a huge disservice. So now if you're a platinum and you camped your way all the way up to champion rank, for example, you're still going to be that platinum caliber player, but now you're all the way up here in champion. So now if you were to take a fight against a real champion rank player, you're 99% of the time going to end up losing, because you got there a cheap way by camping and not really taking fights and not really learning how to play the game and deal with the pressures that come with fighting in game. So the overall best way to overcome being nervous or not confident is just to play like you simply don't care. player and play every game out like you just want to get better. It doesn't matter if you die. You just want to become 1% better every single game you play. I don't care if I die. I'm going to do my best to make sure I don't die. And by doing this, I promise you that nervousness / unconfidence will go away, because as you're doing this, you're going to keep leveling up as a player, which is in due time going to cause you to become a confident player, because you're like, oh wait, I'm actually good now. You're going to become confident in yourself. Which brings me to my next tip, which is a huge debate that's been going on in the Fortnite community recently, which is the best shotgun in Fortnite Season 3 for both builds and zero builds. So with the launch of Season 3, Fortnite has decided to add the combat shotgun back into the game, but now it's buffed, with the hammer pump and the gatekeeper still being in the game with no changes. The blue combat shotgun does a total of 102 headshot damage per shot and a total of 68 damage to the body. This means that the combat shotgun can officially two-shot your opponent. Now, there are a significant amount of mythic shotguns in this season, such as the new mythic combat, the mythic gatekeeper, and the mythic frenzy auto are all still in the game, and they're all still very good. Now, I recommend if you get your hands on either of these to make sure you guys keep them for as long as you can, because they're super overpowered. But in my opinion, for builds, the two best shotguns in the game by far are going to be the gatekeeper shotgun and the combat shotgun, with the worst one being the hammer pump. And for zero builds, the combat shotgun is by far the best shotgun this season, because its fire rate as well as long range as well as damage per second with the range makes it absolutely broken, especially when you're playing something like zero builds. So in my opinion, if you're a more box fight oriented player, I would definitely pick up the gatekeeper shotgun. But if you're like a controller player that likes to sit on high ground and abuse the high ground, I would definitely pick up the combat shotgun, because you could literally just camp on high ground and absolutely beam your opponent with good solid damage shots with the combat shotgun in builds at least. So your ideal loadout needs to look something like this for builds: either a gatekeeper or a combat shotgun, a thunderburst SMG, nitro fizz for mobility, flowberry fizz for heals, and then the boom bolt for your final slot, as I feel like that's going to be a huge meta change, especially with the new update. And then for zero builds, it's definitely going to want to be the combat shotgun, thunderburst SMG, the nitro fizz shockwave grenades for double mobility since it's zero build, and then you need to have your flowberry fizz as your healing item. And these are by far the best ideal loadouts in builds and zero builds, whether you're playing pubs or ranks, to kind of help you improve this season and really learn the loot pool. And that's going to wrap it up, guys. If you guys made it this far, please make sure to comment hashtag DiscSZN.biz, as we are so close to hitting that 1 million subscriber milestone. And if you're new here, please subscribe with that post notification bell on. We are officially grinding all season 3, so I appreciate you doing so. Peace.